Welcome back to Elderly Smiles. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and click the bell icon to stay updated. Let's begin the discussion.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to be diving into something a little different today. It's all about the perspective of someone who's hit that milestone of 70 years old.
Oh, interesting. I'm always fascinated by how our views on life change as we age. What used to seem so important might take on a whole new meaning later on.
Right, and we have this article here, someone reflecting on turning 70, and it's just chock full of these little aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that really jumped out at me was how they talked about time. Like when they were in their 20s, time just felt endless, like a rushing river that never stops, but now it's more like a precious jewel.
Wow. Yeah, I love that analogy. It really speaks to how we reevaluate what we value as we get older. The things that felt so urgent, maybe they don't seem as crucial anymore.
Exactly. And the simpler things like just a quiet morning or a good conversation with a friend, those become much more meaningful.
It's about slowing down and appreciating the present moment. I think a lot of people naturally gravitate towards that as they age. You know, those everyday moments that we might have rushed through before, they suddenly become so much richer.
It makes you think about the saying like, youth is wasted on the young. But it also makes me wonder, have you ever felt that pressure, that kind of societal expectation to always be on the go, to constantly be busy and productive?
Oh, absolutely. It's like we're programmed to think that being busy equals success, but this person, they highlight something really important, you know? True happiness can often be found in stillness, in those moments of quiet reflection.
It's funny, they actually mentioned finding peace in the silence. Like they used to worry that slowing down would lead to loneliness, but instead they discovered a deeper connection with themselves.
That's so powerful. And, you know, it challenges that common fear people have about solitude, especially as we age. There's often the stigma around being alone, but they've really embraced it as a source of strength.
It's amazing they said something like, silence isn't empty. It's where you truly connect with yourself. And it really got me thinking about how I view those quiet moments in my own life.
It makes you wonder if we're sometimes too focused on constantly connecting with others, and we forget the importance of connecting with ourselves.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
And you know, it all ties back to that idea of time becoming more precious as we get older. We become more intentional about how we spend our time and who we spend it with.
Absolutely. And that actually leads us perfectly into another theme that really resonated with me. This shift from valuing a large social circle to cherishing those deep, meaningful relationships. This person even talked about letting go of connections that were no longer serving them.
Right. They said something like, having a few close friends who truly get you is way more valuable than a room full of party invitations. It's about that genuine connection, not just filling up your calendar.
Exactly. And you know, those strong bonds, those become even more important for our well-being as we get older. Having a solid support system people you can rely on is crucial for both our mental and physical health.
Couldn't agree more. And building on that idea of prioritizing well-being, they also talked about discovering the power of saying no. Like saying no to obligations or requests that just don't align with their values anymore, or things they just don't have the energy for.
It's funny how many people struggle with that no word, right? Especially, I think women are often raised to put others' needs before their own. But learning to set boundaries, it's so important, and it often becomes easier with age.
It's like we've all been there, haven't we? Saying yes out of obligation when we really wanted to say no.
Exactly. But as we get older, we realize it's okay to protect our time and energy. We don't have to say yes to everything.
It's about recognizing that sometimes saying no to something means saying yes to something else, like saying yes to yourself.
I love that. It's about prioritizing what truly matters to us and taking care of ourselves. And this person's journey really highlights that shift, wouldn't you say? Embracing a slower pace, focusing on genuine connections, and having that courage to say no when they need to.
It's refreshing, isn't it? They're challenging that notion that aging is all about decline. It can actually be a time of incredible growth and self-discovery.
Absolutely. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Their whole perspective on solitude is unlike anything I've ever heard before. They don't see it as loneliness at all. They see it as a way to recharge and connect with their inner self.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it challenges that negative stigma we often associate with solitude, particularly for older adults. They're turning that idea completely on its head, embracing it as a source of peace and renewal.
I love how they put it. They said something like, silence is the deepest connection with yourself. Such a powerful image, right?
It really is. And it makes you think about how you view those quiet moments in your own life.
It does. Like, are we as a society too focused on constant connection with others? Do we sometimes forget the value of connecting with ourselves?
Those are some great questions. And they're questions I think we can all benefit from asking ourselves, no matter our age.
For sure. And who knows, maybe incorporating a little more solitude, even in small doses, could actually benefit our overall well-being. Especially as the world feels more and more demanding, you know?
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's in those quiet moments when we step away from all the noise and busyness that we can truly find clarity and peace.
It's possible. Maybe that's part of the wisdom that comes with age. Learning to appreciate those moments and what they can teach us about ourselves.
You know, this whole conversation has given me a fresh perspective on aging. It's not just about getting older, it's about evolving, about refining what matters most.
It's inspiring to see someone embrace that process with such grace and self-awareness, like a reminder that aging can actually be a time of incredible growth and fulfillment.
So let's recap some of the key insights we've gathered so far. This person has really mastered the art of living intentionally, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Their redefined relationship with time is a perfect example. It's like they've shifted from feeling like time was this endless resource to cherishing each moment as if it were a precious gem.
Exactly. And that shift has allowed them to really savor life's simple pleasures, enjoying a quiet morning, getting lost in a good book, or just having those meaningful conversations with loved ones.
It's about slowing down and appreciating the present moment, something that many of us naturally find ourselves doing more as we get older.
And it brings us to another key insight, the importance of prioritizing quality over quantity in all aspects of life, really.
Yeah.
Especially in relationships.
Right. Instead of chasing a huge social circle, they're focused on cultivating those deeper, more authentic connections, even if it means having a smaller group of people.
And let's be honest, that takes courage. It's not always easy to let go of relationships that are no longer serving you, even if it means embracing solitude from time to time.
You're so right. But what this person has discovered is that solitude is not something to be feared. It can actually be a source of strength, self-discovery, and profound peace.
I love how they described silence as the deepest connection with oneself. It really challenges those misconceptions we have about being alone, especially as we get older.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that we all need time and space to connect with our inner selves, to reflect, to recharge, and to simply be. And that's something we can all prioritize no matter our age.
Couldn't agree more.
It's funny, their reflections actually tie in with some of the latest research on aging and well-being. There have been studies showing that having a strong sense of purpose, even later in life, can have a huge positive impact on both mental and physical health.
That makes a lot of sense. If you feel like you have a reason to get up in the morning, something that gives you meaning and direction, it can be incredibly motivating.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything big or flashy. It could be something as simple as volunteering in your community, spending time with loved ones, or pursuing a hobby you're passionate about.
It's about finding those activities that let you up, that make you feel alive and engaged no matter how old you are.
And I think that's something that really shines through in this person's story. They found that purpose in the simple things. Connecting with nature, nurturing their relationships, and really exploring their inner world.
They even talked about how their whole view on challenges and setbacks has changed. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, they see them as opportunities for growth and learning.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. It's about embracing the ups and downs of life with resilience and even curiosity.
Reminds me of that quote, the only way out is through. It's by facing those challenges head on that we truly learn and grow.
So true. And sometimes it's in those tough moments that we discover strength and resources within ourselves that we never even knew we had.
They also talked about how their definition of success has completely changed over time. It's no longer about climbing the corporate ladder or acquiring a bunch of possessions. It's about living a life that's true to their values and one that brings them peace and contentment.
It's amazing how our priorities can change so much as we get older. What we once thought was important might fade away, and new priorities emerge.
They mentioned how letting go of that need to constantly achieve and seek validation from others has actually freed them up to focus on things that truly matter to them.
That's such a powerful message for all of us, regardless of age. It's about defining success on our own terms, not by what society tells us.
It's about asking ourselves, what does a meaningful life look like to me? What brings me joy? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind?
Those are some big questions, but they're definitely worth exploring. And I think it's never too late to start asking them.
Absolutely. It's never too late to make changes that align with those answers.
You know, something that really struck me was their deep sense of gratitude. They seem to appreciate the simple things in life so much more now than they did when they were younger.
I noticed that too. They talked about being grateful for their health, their loved ones, the beauty of nature, even for the challenges they've faced that have helped them grow.
It's like they've developed this profound appreciation for the richness of life, even with all its imperfections.
I wonder if that gratitude is part of what gives them such a positive outlook on aging.
It could be. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can have a really positive impact on our well-being, no matter how old we are.
It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, and recognizing the abundance that already exists in our lives.
And that's something we can all do, isn't it? No matter our circumstances. We can all find things to be thankful for, even on our toughest days.
I think that's a beautiful takeaway from this conversation. Aging doesn't have to be something we dread. It can be a time of amazing growth, deepening wisdom, and feeling truly grateful.
It can be a time to embrace a slower pace of life, deepen our connections with ourselves and the people we care about, and find a sense of peace and contentment that we might not have had when we were younger.
Their story is a reminder that aging isn't about decline. It's about evolution. It's about discovering new things you're passionate about, making those existing relationships even stronger, and finding joy in the simple things.
You know, it's something we can all look forward to. We don't have to be afraid of getting older. We can approach it with excitement and wonder, knowing that there's still so many adventures waiting for us.
It's like they're saying, don't be scared to get older. Enjoy the ride. You might just surprise yourself with what you find.
I love that. And it reminds me of something else they mentioned, the importance of staying curious and continuing to learn and grow no matter how old we get.
Right. They talked about how they're always trying new things, reading new books, and having conversations with people who have different viewpoints than their own.
It's that openness to new experiences and ideas that helps us stay young at heart.
And it keeps us from getting stuck in our ways or thinking we've already learned everything there is to know.
It's like they're saying, don't let your age define who you are. You're never too old to learn something new, to grow, to try something different, or to simply change your mind.
It's that willingness to embrace change that keeps life interesting.
Totally agree. It keeps us feeling vibrant and engaged no matter what stage of life we're in.
And it's something we can all work on no matter our age. We can all choose to be lifelong learners. We can welcome new experiences and approach life with curiosity and a sense of wonder.
It's that spirit of adventure that helps us feel young and full of life, no matter how many years we've lived.
And it reminds us that the journey of life is full of surprises, and it's never too late to discover new things about ourselves and the world around us.
It's pretty inspiring, isn't it? To think that we can keep learning and growing throughout our whole lives to change and expand our horizons.
It makes me think about what I want to prioritize in the years ahead. What new things I want to try, what new things I want to learn, and who I want to connect with.
And you know, it makes me realize that getting older isn't just about the years passing. It's about gaining new experiences, becoming wiser, and deepening our understanding of ourselves and the world.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. It's given me a whole new perspective on what it means to age and to live a fulfilling life at any age.
Me too. It's been such an interesting and thought-provoking conversation.
Well, I think it's time to start wrapping things up. What are some of the main takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember from this discussion?
I think the most important one is that we don't have to be afraid of getting older. It can be a time of incredible growth, self-discovery, and joy.
Absolutely. And it's never too late to make changes in our lives to align with our values and find peace and happiness.
It's about slowing down a bit, prioritizing quality time and relationships, and having the courage to say no when we need to.
And remembering that spending time alone isn't something to avoid. It can be a time for strength renewal and connecting with ourselves on a deeper level.
And we should always remember that we can learn and grow throughout our lives. We can all be lifelong learners, embrace new experiences, and approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder.
You know, as we've been talking, I keep coming back to how this person's view on aging is more like a celebration of life.
Yeah.
You know, not some sad thing about what's gone or lost.
It really is. There's this feeling of acceptance, like they're actually excited about this time in their life, like they've discovered this whole new way of being.
They even said they're more at ease now with their imperfections and vulnerabilities.
Yeah, that makes sense though, doesn't it? When we get older, we've been through so much more. We've learned from our mistakes. There's less of a need to put on a show for everyone else.
Exactly. They talked about how they've let go of trying to please everyone and are more focused on just being themselves.
And, you know, being genuine like that can be so freeing. It takes all the pressure off and allows you to be who you are without any apologies.
It makes you think about how much energy we waste trying to fit in or meet expectations that aren't even ours to begin with.
Oh, it's so true. And I think that's a big part of what makes this person's story so inspiring. It shows us that it's okay to let go of those pressures and just embrace who we are, even as we get older.
And embracing our true selves often leads to a deeper sense of contentment.
Right, absolutely. When we stop trying to be someone we're not, we can finally relax and appreciate our own unique journey.
They mentioned that they're more content now than they've ever been, and not in a complacent way.
Yeah.
But like they found this sense of peace within themselves and with everything around them.
And I think that peace comes from letting go of the things you can't control and focusing on what you can, like your own thoughts, feelings, and actions.
It's like accepting what you can't change and making a choice to focus on the positive even when things are tough.
It's a really powerful approach to life and something I think we can all learn from. That ability to find meaning and joy, even in the middle of challenges, that's true wisdom.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to go back to something they mentioned that really stuck with me. They talked about how aging has given them a much deeper appreciation for how everything is connected.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was like they were in awe of this intricate web of life and how we're all connected in ways we don't even realize.
Exactly. They said something like, you start to see the patterns, the cycles, how even small actions can have a ripple effect.
It's like they have this broader view of life, seeing how everything fits together, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs.
And maybe that perspective is part of what brings them that peace they were talking about. Like they've learned to embrace the whole picture of life, not just the parts that are easy or fun.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It also reminds me of something I read recently about how understanding that interconnectedness can actually help us become more empathetic and compassionate people.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you see yourself as part of something bigger, you're more likely to care about others and the world around you.
Right. And that brings us back to leaving a legacy behind. It's not just about individual achievements, but about the positive impact we have on others and on the world.
This whole deep dive has been a real gift. It's given us so much to think about and to reflect on, and things we can take with us as we move forward.
I feel the same way. It's been a privilege to explore all this with you and our listeners.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, we hope this conversation has given you some new ideas, challenged some old beliefs, and maybe even inspired you to look at this chapter of life with a little more excitement and a whole lot more joy.
Aging isn't the end, it's just a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And like any good journey, it's full of surprises, detours, and some truly beautiful moments.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back soon to dive into more fascinating topics with you. Until then, take care of yourselves.